today. Welcome back to Faith and Conviction, and I'm your host, Ray Harris. And I'm back at this nice little storage facility, I guess. I'm really not sure what to call it at this point, but I wanted to bring this as another example today because as strange as it may sound, this structure has actually formed as a parable to many, many different lessons. But today what I would like it to do is function as a archaeological piece, as another type of parable. Because when you look at the structure behind me, you can definitely see the wall here, and I'm hoping that when you look down here toward the corner, you'll see another corner where that tree is down there. There's another corner of the building, and it's just barely there. But if you'll trace out and you walk the perimeter, you can find the foundation of this location. Now, what is this building used for? When was it used? How old is it? Who built it? Why did they build it? These questions we can ask, but the answers are at a distance from us. We don't know the answer. We don't know who did these things or why they would do these things. Perhaps the way in which we would start finding the answers is we would need to investigate the property. Not investigating the property like property lines and water lines, and if there's creeks through here and things like that. You could probably start by seeing if there are some old photographs of this property. Does a photograph exist of this building? But another thing that we might be able to do is search deeds and documents that get filed and find out what those documents might say about this property. And you might be able to find out who the owners were of this property, when they lived. Maybe this dates back to the early 20th century. Maybe this actually dates back to the 1900s. Who lived here during those time periods? What were they doing on this property? Was it a farm property? Was it ranch? Did they have cattle? Did they have sheep? Did they have goats? What were they doing on this property? See, these are the things that we go through when we want to find out what's going on the properties around us. We investigate. We just don't take things at face value. We know that this is a facility, and if you're walking through here and you're, on a stroll, you really don't pay it too much mind. You think, hey, that's pretty cool. I bet somebody used that at some point. It really meant something to them. But only those who, I guess, have to know are going to spend time asking these questions and digging through the files, the government documents, the courthouse, history of families who own the property, photographs of the property, making the effort to contact any living relatives. What information do they have? This is a time consuming process. It's painstaking. It really can take years, I guess, to find out all the information that you would really like to know. But it's important, and this builds the history of this place, and it tells us what happened, and it gives us a better representation of why that building existed and what it was used for. It could have housed horses, it could have housed other livestock like cattle, but it may have actually held hay or other type of grain, or it could have been their dwelling. We don't know. All we know is that somebody lived, well, maybe they didn't live there. They built it and used it, but how they used it, we don't know. Now, we might be able to surmise if we go on to the other side. Maybe we find a fire pit. Maybe we find something that would help us understand this. But we investigate. Now, I bring all this as a parable to talk about the scriptures, because things like the NIV Archaeological Study Bible are helpful, because it does some of the work that we're talking about. It goes into the area of Jerusalem. It goes into that ancient area, and through archaeology, where we've had other people dig up the area and find coins and find vessels like pottery that they would hold oils, whether it was oil for cooking or it was oil for a lamp, where they could have it for light at night. All of these things make a difference to our understanding of the scriptures. We can even find little things called potsherds, and those are broken fragments of pottery, and they have ancient writing on them. These things give us clues to what is meaning in this. Now, this doesn't mean, what I'm trying to get at is you can understand the Bible and you can read it and it makes sense. God works through the written word. I'm convinced of that. But when you're wanting to understand that structure back there, it takes more than just seeing what is left. You want to reconstruct to the very best of your ability what's happened. I use this as a parable because what I'm going to get to in our next segment is a portion about Luke chapter 4 and what I had really come to appreciate as tradition. And it's very powerful, and I'm hoping that it will help us understand why it is so important to understand why Jesus is so powerful, not just as a testimony of the Gospels, but the culture in which he lived, understanding what he did during his life. And I hope you join me in our next segment. We'll talk about that. And in the meantime, seek God, know Messiah, find hope. Thank you. I'm your host, Ray Harris.